you are taking a live look here that is over in Washington, D.C. Now, we are learning a little bit more about the crime crackdown there in D.C., as it does appear that the first homicide has been reported in several days. We also want to talk just a little bit more about a man who torched an American flag in protest being arrested. So much to discuss here. Let's bring in Fox 5 DC's Stephanie Ramirez joining us live outside the White House. And Stephanie, obviously a very busy morning here.
A busy morning indeed, and actually just within seconds we did have some National Guard members arrive on scene, so you might see them behind me here. It looks like they're picking up trash right now at Lafayette Park. We are just outside of the White House. All right, now in terms of the federal takeover, we know the Trump administration has been touting the takeover or federal surge as the reason why D.C. crime has not only dropped in the district, but the reason why we've seen nearly 2 straight weeks of no homicides. But that did change. We learned within the past hour that D.C. police did have a fatal shooting in the southeast neighborhood of the district, where a man was shot just before 12:30 in the morning and ended up dying of his injuries. Southeast, unfortunately, an area that is often plagued by crime. Now, moving on, and the president leaning into his focus on D.C. crime, the federal surge, and the focus on the administration of law and order. He did announce a number of new executive orders, and we saw an arrest connected to this. You were just talking about it. A man arrested outside of the White House yesterday evening at around 6:30. He burned an American flag, and we don't know his name. What's going on, though, is that the president had just announced an executive order essentially prohibiting the burning of American flags. And so we believe that this action was done in protest of that. We don't know the man's name. We don't know if his arrest is in connection with the executive order. Right now, Park Police are telling us that the charge or the violation that he was found to have committed here is called prohibited fire. We also don't know the man's name. What we are told is that he is an Army combat veteran, and he did this action, burning the American flag, in protest just hours after these executive orders. So again, the president leaning into what he's been focused on already here, issued these number of executive orders. One of them seeks to have anyone who burns or desecrates an American flag be prosecuted and spend a year in jail. And then there are other issues focused on, like, for example, requiring the Secretary of Defense to begin training and creating a specialized unit within the D.C. National Guard that can be deputized to enforce federal law. He wants the country's National Guards trained and ready to respond to civil disturbances. And another big one that targets D.C. specifically is an executive order to get rid of cashless bond. Now, D.C. leaders argue that goes against the crime data in the district. The D.C. ACLU argues that the president, quote, is furthering his dangerous performative abuse of power in D.C., and that it can actually have a negative impact on public safety by separating people from their support networks, jobs, and housing. Now, I do want to note the D.C. Council did change the law to hold more people pretrial in recent years. It's something council members say have contributed to the lowering of D.C.'s crime rate before the federal surge started about 2 weeks ago. Here's what the president said in his comments yesterday.
Somebody kills somebody, they go in, don't worry about it, no cash, come back in a couple of months, we'll give you a trial. You never see the person again.
And guys, as residents in D.C. have been protesting, you see.
B. Thomas says this country didn't take care of him, so he doesn't care anymore. What does that even mean, man? What does that even mean? What are we talking about? Was he in World War I? Was he in World War II? Was he in the Iraq War? Was he over in Afghanistan? What are you talking about? What does that mean? What does that mean? I want to know what that means. We automatically assume you don't even know this guy's background. You don't know anything about what he did. You don't know what his history is. You don't know none of that. And so we just automatically just say wild stuff, even though we don't even have all of the information or all of the details. And we automatically assume that somebody was supposed to do something that they didn't do because this guy is a protester and he went extra liberal and he decided that he wanted to burn the flag. Do you know him? Did he tell you his story? Was it something that you can identify with to where you can then make that assessment and then say that, oh man, it's something that the federal government didn't do? What is it that was supposed to happen to him or for him? Sometimes people are just evil. Sometimes people switch over. Sometimes people have a disdain for the person that is in office, and it has nothing to do with the country itself. Didn't look like he was incapacitated. Didn't look like he was missing any limbs. Didn't look like he was missing any meals. And so as a result, I would have to conclude that maybe we should wait to find out more about him so that we can come to a better conclusion as to why it is that he was outside and he got some extra time on his hands to go and burn the flag. When did it become the responsibility of the government to take care of you for the rest of your life? Especially when you're not incapacitated, especially when you got all of your faculties, you chilling, you having a good time. You still got to abide by the rules of the land. And if it says no flag burning, that don't give you permission to do the opposite. That sounds like he's just rebellious. It sounds like he just want to do what he want to do and he wants to get arrested because he wants to be a martyr. No matter what, you still have to abide by the rules of the land. You can't go out there and do the exact opposite of what you think you're supposed to do just because you a veteran or just because you served the country. We appreciate you. We thank you for your service. But at the same time, if you go out here and you start crashing out and you start doing stuff that you ain't supposed to do, you're going to get held accountable just like everybody else. For some reason, y'all think that y'all special. Y'all think that y'all special. You're not special. You're not special. He probably got a brain injury. Well, we don't know. So that's why we reserve and then we make our assessment later. It looks like he was real able-bodied to me. He had on his Skechers. He put on his blue jeans. He put his hands behind his back, which means that he meant to do that and he knew what he was doing. Boy, have we fallen as a country.
President Trump touting his historic success as D.C. celebrates nearly 2 weeks without one single homicide. Vice President J.D. Vance commenting on the progress made by the administration in its crackdown on D.C. crime. Listen.
This town averaged one murder every other day for the last 20, 30 years, which means that in 2 short weeks, the president and the team have saved 6 or 7 lives, people who would have been killed on the streets of D.C., who are now living, breathing.
Somebody said, you don't think that veterans are special? I don't think that anybody is special enough to be able to break the laws and the rules of the land just because they are who they are. It's a lot of people that think that they special because they did a lot of things that's awesome, but it does not mean that you're above the law. I don't know where you don't understand that from. No, nobody is special enough to continue to burn the flag or disrespect the country or to commit treason or to break the law and then be able to get away with it. No. In that way, you are not special. You have to be held to the same standard as everybody else. Any more questions? Was I very clear on that?
Spending time with their families, because the president had the willpower to say no more. We're not going to give the streets of D.C. over to vagrants and robbers and murderers.
So, are we going to see the president's push for law and order spread to other cities? White House Deputy Press Secretary Anna Kelly joins me now. Anna, great to have you back on the program. Is the administration confident that it can bring the same results that we're seeing in D.C., let's say to cities like Chicago, where the mayor has said he is going to fight Trump at every turn, and the governor has said that as well?
Yeah, well, the president spoke to this yesterday. We are having incredible results with this president's surge of law enforcement in D.C. in the form of 1,000 arrests. That is 1,000 dangerous criminals that are now behind bars because of this president's action. And as was mentioned with your previous guest, and I want to applaud her for her courage, ending dangerous policies like cashless bail that allow further recidivism, that put law enforcement in danger, and worst of all, put more victims in danger. So this president is committed to cleaning up.
Olin cites a 1989 5-4 Supreme Court decision to which the court held that Gregory Lee Johnson's act of burning the flag during the protest was a form of political expression protected by the First. Well, this ain't 1989. This is 2025. This is 36 years later. This ain't 1989 no more. Also in 1989, it was not legal for a man and a man to be married and a woman to be married. Guess what? The executive order says that you can't burn a flag. You cannot burn a flag and then be able to get away with it. Laws change, penalties change, the things of this world change and evolve. 55 years ago, women weren't able to vote either. What else? What else y'all want to talk about? Listen, I don't care about what you cite. If the laws and the rules change, we got to obey the laws and the rules of the land. It just is what it is. That's scripture.
DC continuing this effort to put the focus on victims to make sure that what happened to these people doesn't continue to happen again, and that law-abiding citizens in DC, Chicago, all across the country can live their lives without fear of being a victim of violent crime.
So are you confident that these actions can be taken in a city like Chicago where, like I asked you earlier, there doesn't seem to be a very welcoming reception for the president and his potential bringing of the National Guard?
Somebody says an executive order isn't law. The First Amendment doesn't change. Okay, go out there and burn the flag then and see what happens. Go on outside and do it. And videotape yourself doing it and put it on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. Do it then. You tough. You tough with no profile picture. You tough. No profile picture. Go ahead and do it. Bust a move then, tough guy. Everybody got a lot to say till it comes time to actually put some work in. I want to see you exercise your First Amendment. Your First Amendment right. Go do it and videotape yourself, and then let's see whether or not they actually execute on that law or not. I just want to see what happens. Let's just go ahead and do it. You try it. Videotape yourself doing it right now, 2 days after Trump announced it, and then let's see how that play out. Dummy.
Confident that you can take the same actions in Chicago, in New York, places like that?
Absolutely. And one thing I'll point out is the president, of course.
Somebody said that's why your Wi-Fi is AOL. That's why your wife is AOL.
Partnered with law enforcement here in D.C., and that action has actually been incredibly welcomed by the D.C. Police Union and others. These folks who actually live in these communities thanking this president for finally stepping up and addressing this violent crime that's totally ravaged our city. And I think it's shameful that you have governors like J.B. Pritzker prioritizing criminals over the people in their cities. People in Chicago and in these violent, crime-ridden cities are begging President Trump to come in to make their cities safe. That effort has already been welcomed by folks here in D.C. And yes, he certainly expects that it will be welcomed by folks really impacted by these crimes all across the country.
I love you too, Rhonda. When elected leaders say, no, we don't want help in keeping our citizens safe. We want what's happening, which seems to be not good for the people that live in these certain cities. Finally, before we let you go, President Trump taking decisive action against radical American flag burners with a new executive order. Take a listen.
When you burn the American flag, it incites riots at levels that we've never seen before. People go crazy. In a way, both ways. There are some that are going crazy for doing it. There are others that are angry about them doing it. And what the penalty is going to be, if you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail, no early exits, no nothing. You get 1 year in jail.
Anna, this move is getting a lot of pushback from conservatives, the people who want Donald Trump in office, who love basically every single one of his policies, but they don't like this. They argue that this violates the First Amendment, and they are staunch proponents of the First Amendment. To be clear, though, this executive order only applies when the flag is burned in an effort to incite violence. Is that correct, Anna?
That is correct. And there's two parts of this. Of course, the part we all agree on is that the American flag is the most treasured symbol in our country. It not only represents our country as a whole, it represents those who fought, served, bled, died for our country. And so, of course, this is an incredibly special symbol that we have to protect. But beyond that, to your point, yes, the First Amendment does not protect inciting violence. And so what that specific executive order does is it makes sure that crimes that are related to burning the American flag, like starting a riot, inciting violence, are fully prosecuted. This is common sense.
See, the thing that y'all don't understand, because, see, I see people still saying it's still a part of the First Amendment. It's still part of the First Amendment. But everything else around it isn't. So the arson, the inciting a riot, all of see, y'all, come on, man. Listen, black people should be smart enough to this at this point to really understand how the law works. Y'all should be understanding enough to know how the law works. Most of y'all done been arrested. Most of y'all keep telling me, oh man, I just got my life together. You know how the law works. Okay, cool. So the flag burning itself may be protected by the First Amendment, but the fact that you set something on fire and it just so happened to be American flags, guess what? The prosecutor is going to probably be on your ass. And they going to make an example out of your black ass. And inciting a riot, that's left up to interpretation. It's just like trafficking. Just like trafficking, they pick and choose the different things that they want to prosecute. So if you decide that you want to play the game, the First Amendment game, go ahead, Cletus. Go ahead, Cletus. Make my day. Go ahead. Do it. Do it. I want to see y'all do it and then claim your First Amendment. And then after you get done spending a ton of money on fines and legal fees, if you just so happen to avoid jail, I want to see how you able to do it. I want to see you be the blueprint for it. I want to see you be the blueprint. Go ahead. If you don't understand how the game works, play the game and see how it go. Play the game. You can go and speed. And it's left up to interpretation of whether or not you were actually drag racing, or if you were just going 5 over or 10 over, or if you were actually having a loud noise because you was revving up your engine and you just so happen to have your radio turned up at the same time. And then also you didn't have your seatbelt on. Well, that's all left up to interpretation. I thought I seen you without your seatbelt on. Boy, you know how this law works. You should know better. Stop playing games. Stop playing games. You shouldn't be burning no flag anyway. Y'all never even own the flag. You don't even know how many stars is on the flag. You don't even know how many stripes is on there. Most of y'all ain't never even owned a flag, but now all of a sudden you want to go on Amazon and order a flag so you can start torching. You such a wannabe. Y'all so Me Too-ish. You wannabe woke looking trash. Trash. Always just got to get y'all just got to get involved in something. White apologists, Black Lives Matter constituents, just always got to get into something. You failed the question in elementary school when they asked you how many stars is on the flag. Now you want to get involved with the first. Now all of a sudden you know the First Amendment. I don't even know your own city council person that represents your district, but you know the First Amendment. Shut the fuck up. I got one in my front yard that was left by the person that had the house before you, bro. Can't fool me. Nigga, you never bought that flag. You ain't never bought that flag. It's saying about black people, then why black people keep talking back and forth to me like you care? Stop getting involved. Why y'all so dead set on burning the flag all of a sudden? Now you don't like America? Now you want to burn the flag? Go ahead, take your punk ass to Nigeria then. Go on to Nigeria then. Go on to wherever you from. East Africa, Nigeria, Europe. Go back to wherever you came from. Russia, your home country. Russia. China. Go on back to your punk ass country then, Canada. All right, mate. Mexico, you and Jefe and Jesus down there drinking tequila. Take your ass to your punk ass country then if you want to cause chaos. They don't care about booty scratchers burning things over in Ghana.